Thanks for listening to today's episode of Medical Device Global Market Access by Pure Global. Today, we are focusing on a significant regulatory milestone in Australia. The Therapeutic Goods Administration, or TGA, has established a firm deadline for unique device identification, or UDI requirements for high-risk medical devices. Starting from July 1, 2026, compliance with UDI regulations will become mandatory for manufacturers and sponsors of Class 3 and Class 2B medical devices, including all implantable devices intended for the Australian market. This marks a critical transition from a voluntary framework to an enforceable regulatory requirement, aligning Australia more closely with global UDI systems in jurisdictions like the United States and the European Union. This change means that for any new high-risk device applications submitted to the TGA on or after July 1, 2026, providing evidence of UDI compliance will be a prerequisite for inclusion in the Australian Register of Therapeutic Goods, the ARTG. The TGA will assess UDI compliance as part of its pre-market conformity assessment procedures. This integration into the pre-market review process underscores the seriousness of the deadline. It's no longer a future objective, but a concrete requirement for market access. Failure to meet these obligations will directly impact a manufacturer's ability to introduce new high-risk devices or make significant changes to existing ones in Australia. So, what exactly are these obligations? There are three core components to the TGA's UDI requirements. First, manufacturers must assign a UDI to their device and all higher levels of packaging. This UDI must be obtained from a TGA-recognized UDI issuing agency, such as GS1. Second, a UDI carrier, which is a machine-readable format, like a barcode or QR code, must be placed on the device label and its packaging. This allows for the electronic capture of device information throughout the supply chain. Third, and perhaps the most data-intensive part, manufacturers or their sponsors must submit comprehensive UDI-related data for their devices to the Australian UDI Database, known as AusUDID. This database will serve as the central repository of key device information, enhancing traceability and post-market surveillance. For regulatory, quality, and market access teams, the time to act is now. The 2026 deadline requires careful planning and execution. We recommend several practical actions to ensure a smooth transition. First, conduct a thorough portfolio assessment to identify every Class 2B and Class 3 device that will be subject to this deadline. This review should include devices currently on the market as well as those in your product pipeline. It is crucial to understand the full scope of work required across your organization. Second, if you have not already, you must select and partner with a TGA-recognized UDI issuing agency. This involves not only generating the UDIs, but also integrating the agency's standards into your quality management system and operational workflows. Third, begin planning the necessary updates to your labeling and packaging processes. This is more than a simple artwork change. It requires implementing and validating systems for printing and verifying the UDI carriers to ensure they are compliant and scannable throughout the product lifecycle. Finally, prepare your data management infrastructure for submission to the AusUDID. This involves identifying, collecting, and validating all the required data attributes for each device. This step is often the most challenging and time-consuming, so starting early is essential. While the immediate focus is on high-risk devices, it is important to note that this is part of a phased rollout. The TGA has set future deadlines for lower-risk devices, with Class 2A devices requiring compliance by July 2028 and Class 1 devices by July 2030. Therefore, the systems and processes you establish now for your high-risk devices will serve as the foundation for your entire portfolio's compliance in the coming years. Proactive preparation will not only ensure you meet the July 1, 2026 deadline, but also position your company for long-term success in the Australian market. If your team needs assistance navigating Australia's UDI requirements or any other aspect of global market access, please check out Pure Global. We specialize in helping mid-tech companies streamline their regulatory processes. For more resources, check the description for a link to our free AI tools and regulatory database. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.